Today I'll be doing a tutorial on how to build an EOL mob farm. As usual, timestamps will be below if you want to skip to a certain bit, but I'd recommend watching the whole thing. I'll try and keep this video as concise as possible, however there is a lot of information to go through. So, before we start with anything, you will need a Mobswitch. This is essential as you do not want mobs disturbing you. There are three main ways of making a Mobswitch in 1.16: withers, zombie villagers, and shulkers. I won't show how to set one up in this video as it will be long enough as it is, but I will leave videos and information about how to make mob switches in the description. Now on to light suppressors. I go into more detail about how these work in my EOL Witch Farm tutorial, and I'll link VKTech's video on light suppression in the description. But basically we're just causing a ton of light updates which causes the lighting engine to fall behind, allowing us to create light updates that will not get processed. This light suppressor over here is the one shown in the original EOL showcase, which will be linked in the description. It shifts blocks at build limit, which propagates skylight updates from height limit to the floor, which will quickly fill up the light queue, but it can be quite laggy. This light suppressor works by turning on and off redstone lamps in quick succession. It's by Comedy and I'll link their video on it in the description. It is much more lag friendly and doesn't have to be built at build limit, but it will fill up the light queue slightly slower. Both light suppressors will be dependent on your hardware and mods, so please test to see if it's reliable before you start. I would also use Carpet TIS, which allows you to do the command /log light queue, which allows you to see how many light updates are in the queue. So if you would like to build a full speed EOL farm, you will need a Batswitch. I will cover a farm that doesn't require a Batswitch, but the rates will be significantly lower. What we are doing is creating light level 0 portals low down in the world. Your mob switch would be enabled and this would only allow bats to spawn. I will be showing a 6x6 platform for this bat farm, but obviously you can change the size accordingly. This can also be built above bedrock, so you don't have to break any bedrock for this farm. And I have put a layer of blocks above the 6x6 platform, and this is for skylight suppression. We go into the blocks and I hit F3, you can see that there's 0 skylight. And this is what we use instead of a roof. I'll be showing you how to slice the portals using update suppression. I go over this portal slicing technique in my last video, which will be linked in the description. So now I will start the light suppressor. I will just have a bot account turning it on and off, but you can also use an alt account. Now we have to wait a little bit for the light thread to fall behind, and as I said before, this is really dependent on your hardware, so you must test this for yourself. So I've waited a couple minutes and now we should be good to start light suppressing. So before we start, I'm just going to test to see if it works. So light a fire, relog, and you can see that it's all light level 0. This means we can start. To start, we should turn on our update suppressor. So I'm using my 7 game tick one, so I can just do that. I'll turn it on for me. Once we've done that, we can break all the sandstone here. We don't need it anymore. So, there we go. Now once we've done that, we can build our portal frame. I'll just do this. Once you've done that, you can light the portal. We'll break this obsidian here, place a rail here, click this lever on the far side, and then we break this obsidian in the middle here. That will slice our portal, and now we can break the rest. We can break this obsidian right here, and then we can use signs, chain the updates, and a bit of lag. Now we can break this obsidian here, and then to continue, all we do is just extend this out by 1, build our portal, same thing as before, 1 more, light the portal, break this obsidian, place a rail there, this lever, slice the portal, break the rest of this obsidian, this one, signs here, that, this one, and you just continue until you've finished all of the portals. Once you've finished all of them, come over here and you can crash, or you can do /stop, or you can just save and quit if you're playing in single player. But I'll crash just because it's more vanilla. Oh, I have update suppression crash fix on. That's fine, I'll just turn that off. And there we go, server closed. Okay, so now that the server's back online, I've logged back in and turned off the light suppressor. We can see whether it worked or not. So if I turn on light overlay, we can see that it was block light 0. And if I press F3, you can see that it has skylight 0. So here we would have our EOL bat farm. I am now on the AmbitionCraft survival server to show you the setup that we have to process bats. We have a player here and he'll be loading all the bats. Portal is here, this is where the bats will stay. And all we have to do is press this button, it drops the player down to the perfect height. So bats start spawning down here and we can actually see the farm running. Bats spawn and instantly get teleported to the nether. And in the nether, what happens is they get processed, they stay in this nether portal, which then turns off, and then the top one turns on. So basically cycles between them, and then after 30 seconds, once their cooldown has finished, this one will turn back on and they'll teleport back to the overworld. And this way, we get about 130 bats, which is enough for how many players we have. And also at the top here, we have a chunk loader. For when the bats stop spawning in the overworld, this chunk will continue to be loaded, so all the bats go back through to the overworld. So as you just saw, now back in the overworld you can see that all the bats are here, and that's our Batswitch. So when building these farms, it is worth breaking Bedrock, as the height map makes a huge difference in rates. Breaking Bedrock will about triple the rates for a full EOL farm. Here is XYOR's and Desktop Folder's 3-way Bedrock breaker. I'll leave their showcase video for this amazing machine in the description, where you can learn more about it. This farm is for the lazy. It requires no update suppression and very minimal light suppression. This farm also does not require a Batswitch, although it will be slower than if you built it with a Batswitch. To prevent bats from spawning, we have the portals at a light level of 4. This will still allow hostile mobs to spawn, although it is slower because the higher the light level, the less likely hostile mobs are to spawn. You can decide whether you want to break Bedrock, although I don't think it's really worth it for such a lazy farm. For this farm, I have a 16 by 16 obsidian platform. Obviously, you can scale this up as you wish. The slabs are here for pack spawning and to prevent skylight. We have these light sources 11 blocks up from this obsidian platform, so these are light level 4. Obviously, if you have a Batswitch, you don't have to use these light sources and you can just create light level 0 portals. And finally, we have this huge sandstone roof on top for skylight suppression. Okay, the light suppressor's been running for me for a while now, so I should be good to start. We should start by adding an obsidian layer here. I will use World Edit to speed this process up, but obviously you would just place this all by hand. Like so. Once we've done that, we can now light the portals. Just light every single one of them here. That. And now we can add a layer of slabs above this. Okay. And now we should be good to crash. So I'm just going to use /stop, but obviously you can crash, you can close, whatever. And I'll meet you guys when the server is restarted. Once you have relogged, you should be able to see that your portals are now at light level 4, or light level 0 if you did not use any light. So now we can remove the roof, we no longer need it. You don't have to do this while light suppressing, you can just do it normally. And once it's gone, that's pretty much it. Your lazy EOL farm is done. Before I start showing how to build this farm, I must let you know that this is a huge grind to do. And it can be very tricky if you haven't done any light suppression or update suppression before. I would recommend to not do this as your first EOL project. There are about 2,000 spawning spaces in this farm, and we have glass between the portals to prevent spiders and slimes from spawning. The turtle eggs on the edges are to attract chicken jockeys and pigmen that spawn in the farm, so they do not take up mob cap or spawning spaces. For this farm, you should have it at Y0 and you should also have a Batswitch. Now over to the setup. We have a 7 game tick update suppressor that I showed in my last video, which again will be linked in the description if you're interested in learning more about update suppression. We have a bud line that stretches across the whole area of the farm. Then we have this movable bud line by Stormloop that has been slightly modified by me. We have this glazed terracotta floor so we can move the rail line too. But you can use any non-sticky block that rails can be placed on. And lastly, we have a huge roof at Y13, and this is for skylight suppression, which I'll go over later. So once you have built all of this, you can start making the farm. You will need glass, obsidian, lava, flint and steel, and some redstone components. I would also recommend that you load a schematic of the farm so you know where to place the glass. And once you are ready, you are good to turn on your light suppressor. About 2 minutes have passed, so I'm going to start. First, we should turn on our update suppressor, and all the rails should bud. Then we can come over to our obsidian platform, and you must always remember to extend it one to the east. This will become apparent why in just a moment. So once we've done that, we can start building our portal. Remember to not place obsidian next to this piston, it will cause a crash. So just like this. We can then light the portal, and then we break the middle block on the west side of the portal. And that will slice it. We can then get rid of all the excess obsidian because we don't need it anymore. And now you can see why we extended it one to the east. Then replace that with whatever. And now we can turn on our Lightmatic. We can see that there's glass here, so we can just place this in. And now we can see that there are portal blocks where there's meant to be glass. To get rid of this, we can just use a lava bucket. In survival, because we're update suppressing the lava bucket, it will never actually empty it. So you can just keep on reusing the lava bucket. Okay, so once all the portals are gone, we can just place in the glass. And that's our first layer done. To move on to the second layer, all we have to do, turn off the update suppressor, hit this note block which will move the whole bud line, and then we must connect it to this main bud line by just extending this one more out. Then we can turn it back on, and then we just repeat basically. We come over to the obsidian platform, extend it one out to the east, except this time, because this obsidian platform is longer than 21 blocks, we have to split the portals. So, I'm going to start building up, and we go until the midpoint, which is right here, and then we go one east from the midpoint, so that, light the portal, slice the portal, obsidian, and then starting from the midpoint, we start our next portal till we reach the end. And light this portal, slice it, and break this obsidian and replace it with a glass, and then we can break all the rest of the obsidian. And that's 2 layers. I'll do a couple more. Turn off our update suppressor, move it, then extend this out by one more. Obviously, when this gets too far, you can't extend it, so you have to move this piston. You can just put it here, exact same. Just make sure that there's a block next to this piston, and that'll just trigger it. So, yep, this on now. Go over to the east side and extend it by one. Again, this is too long, so we have to split it into more portals. This, we go until the midpoint. Go east. Light our portal. Slice it. The rest of the obsidian. Start our next portal from the center. This. Light this one and slice it again. glass in the middle. Go to this stuff. And now we're on to our fourth layer, which is the glass layer. So, turn off our update suppressor again, and I'll just demonstrate moving this so you can see what it's like. So all we do is just break this one, one here, this, turn our update suppressor on again, east side, on there, start to build our portal, go to the midpoint. Obviously if it gets longer than this you might have to split it into 4 portals. So that, light it, this one, rest of it. Next. Light it, place it, that one, glass, very cool. And as you can see, this is another glass layer. Placing the easy glass first. Then we take out our lava bucket, and obviously I'd be really careful when you do this because you don't want to misplace the lava. Okay. Okay, and now the portals are gone, we can just place in the glass. And just like that, that's 4 layers done. So now I'll probably crash because I've been going long enough. So I'll meet you guys when I reboot the server. Now that the server's back online, we can see that we've done 4 rows of portals, all light level 0. So obviously you continue this, but I'm just going to skip until we reach the diverging point. So I'm just going to turn off the update suppressor, and then just move this. Okay, so I've moved the bud line and the light suppressor has been running, so I'm good to start again. We turn on our update suppressor, and essentially it's the same thing, but we're just doing it on 2 different sides. So we just extend it one to the east, and we build our portal frame like this. Then we can light our portal, slice it, and then obviously get rid of the rest of the obsidian. And we check for glass. This layer actually has 1 glass here. Just place that one in. Once you finish this, you can go over to the other side, where you now do the other side. So we go over to the east, that one. Then we build our portal again. That. Light our portal. We go the obsidian. And again, there's a glass here, so we can just place that. And there's our 2 portals. Obviously we move on again by turning off our update suppressor, doing this, then extending this, turn it back on, extend this one to the east, build our portal, this, light it, break all the obsidian, and we can see that this one's a glass layer, so we can lava, Then once all that's gone, we can place in the glass. And that's this side done, so we just go to the other side. So we go again, build our portal frame. Light it. Make obsidian again. And of course, lava. And then we can. And that's essentially it. So all you have to do is just repeat these two until you reach the end, and then you have yourself a successful full EOL farm. So again, I'm going to crash, and I'll see you guys in a second. Okay, so now that you've finished your farm, all you have to do is skylight suppress, remove the bud lines, add in the glass and turtle. So just start light suppressing, and then you'll be able to remove the roof. And if we relog, we'll be able to see that we now have our fully light suppressed EOL mob farm. And then you just do the same to the bud lines. You remove the glazed terracotta and put in your turtle eggs and glass. Before I end this video, I'll answer some frequently asked questions. Tutorial ? Yes, you're watching it. Why did this video take so long? SantaTech. Discord in the description. World download? Yes, there'll be a world download of this testing world in the description. Does this work on paper? No, this will not work on bucket, spigot, paper, etc. This will only work in vanilla or fabric. What about Bedrock edition? No. Does this work in single player? Yes. Who are you? I am Sensei, a sentient AI. How long did this take to build? Well, we spent weeks planning out the project. It took about 3 weeks from start to finish, taking over 50 man-hours to do the portals. We crashed about 68 times in total, most being intentional crashes, and we used about 5 backups. Oh, and we didn't use /carpet update suppression crash fix. Can you build it bigger? Yes, you can build it bigger, but the bigger it is, the harder it is to build. More time consuming, and more likely for mistakes to happen. Cactus storage ? Yes, we delete all the items. We have another mob farm on AmbitionCraft by Epteon. His video will be linked in the description once it has been released. Thank you all so much for the support on last video. Hope this video was helpful, to some at least. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.